I always post my videos on Fridays, and so leading up to Friday from the previous Friday, I try and get it together in the next 6 days so I'll have a video to post, and I had it together. But I got an email about 10 minutes ago that kind of touched me, and I want to share that with you. So I'm going to block the name out, but the email was actually from PayPal. Somebody had sent me $50, and I'm like, what for? So the note was, just a thanks for what you do. Yes, I read some of the forums where they diss you. Poo on them. They don't teach me what you do. Your tips and tricks video was particularly helpful. The little things you do automatically. Please share all of those with us when you think of it. That was so sweet. Like, it's not even the dollar amount. It could have been $5. It could have been 500. It doesn't really matter. It's just the note that came with it. That just touched me. I appreciate that, Cassandra. I'm not going to call out your last name, but thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words.
Take your chance. Prove yourself. Oh
I have a little downtime today, so I usually post videos on Friday, and I think this Friday, which is today, I think I'll post a video that is related to my work in a roundabout kind of way. Sometimes people want to know what kind of tools I have, and I have quite a few. There are other people that have a lot more tools than I have, but I'm limited to my space. Most of my tools, I don't really have room in my garage to stockpile a whole variety of different tools, but I do have a trailer, covered trailer, that is basically my office. But here's my collection. It's going to be very, very difficult to show you all the tools that I use, but I'm going to start out with some of the larger tools that are in my toolbox that I was able to put out. These are suction cups for mirrors when I take off mirrors in bathrooms. I have an electric planer that comes in handy a lot when I have to shave doors, because sometimes my tile sets higher than the door, so I shave off whatever, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. This is probably one of my most versatile, better tools. When I say better, what I use the most. This is a Dremel, and Dremel brand anyway, and this is for cutting door jambs when I'm setting tile, so that I have a clean cut and the tile goes up under the door jamb. This thing I highlighted on a video a while back. The idea is that Tack Life had sent me this for free to do a review, and this was not the easiest tool to use. The way that it was engineered, I know there's many more tools out there, but this is a small blade that I wanted to get as close to a to a wall as possible to get a cut when I'm taking out plywood. And as you can see, there's probably about an inch of room here with this guide getting in the way. So it doesn't do what I thought it would do. This is another thing I don't use very often. It's an electric stapler. I've tried the handheld staplers before, and somehow or another they die, they malfunction, or they break within a short time. So this electric stapler I've had for quite some time. This I use quite a bit. This is my self-igniting torch with the mat gas, and because I do quite a bit of plumbing in my work, not all tilers do, but I do, so I have an extra can. This is a brand new can, but I have an extra head also, an igniter, a self-igniter. Some people anyway that watch my videos and see my screwdriver, my electric drill, why don't you get a battery powered one? Well, I do. I've had a battery powered Makita since the 90s. There are some people that will say to you, you can tell a man's work by his tools. I'm not a subscriber to that philosophy, because I've seen work in other countries done with very, very little and still excellent work. And the reason that I'm prefacing what I'm saying here is because you see I have some wire nuts. At some point, I forget when, I broke the cord on this, and because I broke the cord doesn't mean that I'm going to go through all the trouble I don't even think it's replaceable, but I'm not going to go through all the trouble of replacing the cord. This thing has been beat up and thrown around probably the good part of, I'm going to guess about 4 or 5 years I've had this. This is my skill, so I've had that at least as long as I've had my drill. But I ran into the same problem. I ran into cutting my cord. I don't know how I cut my cords, but I did. And this one has been patched for quite a long time. I didn't have any type of heavy-duty cord to replace it with, so I don't know where I got this from, but it's obviously from a light of some sort. Oh my God, I can't believe you replaced it with such a thin cord. It's never been an issue. It has worked like a charm. So I've had this voltmeter, oh my God, probably the better part of 18, maybe 20 years. Maybe longer. I've had this thing a long time. I know there's better ones out there. I don't know the brand of it, but it's served me very well. It reads all the high voltage and low voltage that I need. Has an ohm meter built into it, which is generally what I need it for anyway. You're probably asking me why I have these bolt cutters. The small size bolt cutters are great when you have a bolt of a toilet. The toilet bolts are generally about 3 inches long, and nobody's ever going to have a 3-inch gap, so you always end up having to cut off the excess bolt. And a lot of people use, as I used to do in the day, a hacksaw, and a hacksaw leaves a rough edge where you can't get the nut on afterward. These I don't use a whole lot, but they're always handy to have around when I need to cut sheet metal or I need to cut some wire mesh or something like that. I generally keep these around because I deal with old bathrooms a lot that have lathing, the metal lathing behind it, and sometimes if you can't rip it off, you have to cut it out. Pipe cutters, specifically for PVC, CPVC, other plastics, these are a lifesaver because they make a nice clean cut with any plastic pipe that you have. Bang gun, and that's what I call it because that's how I was introduced to it years and years ago. So if you ever need to put a 2x4, which I do pretty frequently, I did a 2x4 on the concrete, and this has a little 22 round in it, and the 22 round, there's a special nail that goes up in there with a washer. Sometimes they're washerless. I like those better. And so you just put the little 22 round inside of here, you just load it in there like if it was a weapon, and then you just give it a good whack on the top, and that 22 will send that nail flying into the concrete, right through the wood and into the concrete. Before I get to my pouch, this box contains all the odd and end nails, not nails, screws. There's just a lot of odd and end stuff in here. I've carried around this for years and years and years, and I need to. Look at that, it's got a crack in it. But it's just odd and end stuff that through the years, when I end up with screws, extra screws from any job that I'm doing, they get tossed in this box because eventually I'll pull them out and need them somewhere. Here is my tool pouch. I have chisels in here. I have different types of screwdrivers. I have small Phillips. I have small flat. I have, a 4-in-1. I have vice grips, a couple of different vice grips. I got a needle nose vice grip in here somewhere, plus a normal one. I have my razor knife. I have my pencils. I have wire cutters in there. I have another set of smaller wire stripper cutters right there. I have spade bits in here. I have, there's all kinds of, there's a garbage disposal tool here. This is great if your garbage disposal is stuck. You stick this up in the bottom and you turn and twist it until whatever is in there gets loose, and then you have to pull that loose thing out. I have adjustable wrench, which I use pretty frequently. Other wire cutters. I have drill bits. I have little Allen wrenches, different sizes of Allen wrenches that I collect. I never throw any type of little tool away. I have tape on that. That tells me this is for my shower pan. This is the exact size I need for the bolts on my shower pan drain. So I keep that handy, and that's why it has a tape on it to remind me which one it is. I have channel locks, both large and small. I have nut drivers. I have 1/4-inch nut driver, 5/8. I have flashlight on the side here. I have What else do I have? I have a mirror. I have a couple of mirrors actually, so when I'm doing plumbing I can look behind where I plumbed at to make sure that I got my sweat connection right. One of my favorite tools, irreplaceable, is this little, what it looks like a cowboy spur. This is an inside pipe cutter. There's a lot of stuff in here. Some of this stuff is so deep that sometimes I forget I have it. I have small screwdrivers, the little tiny ones that you need for little tiny screws on, usually on bars and stuff like that. I have a countersink tool for nails and stuff like that, which I use for different things sometimes. On here I usually have electrical tape, but apparently I ran out of electrical tape, so there's some Teflon tape that I always keep around. There's a pencil sharpener. That's a kind of a synopsis of all of my, this goes with me everywhere I go. I don't care what kind of job I'm doing, even in my tile work. At least half a dozen of these tools are being used. This is a total mess, but I can't keep any type of organization with all of this stuff. I just can't. There's so much of this stuff that I need, and I don't need it all the time, but I have to have it around. These are all my gaskets and washers and anything that has to do with a sink. I have all of my stuff in here. I have odd and end PVC pipes. I have a couple of angle stops in here. I have some loose drill bits inside of there. A couple of brand new chisels, because I tend to use chisels for other than what they're used for, so I keep some sharp ones on hand. I have extra P-trap material for pipes. I have pan liner glue. I have new levels, which I don't like to use very often. I use my old ones until I can't read them no more. I have extra shims for those purposes. I have junction box in case I run into electrical issue. Extra gas. I actually have an extra drill. I got an angle grinder. I have, before I bought that Dremel, this is how I would cut out my door jamb. I have a replication of my shears. Again, being repetitive in tools is not a bad thing. I have many pry bars. I have an extra hammer. There's another hammer in my my trailer. What is that? Oh, it's a paddle mixer, which I don't use. And I'm going to tell you why here shortly. So I have a lot of stuff in here. That's only one side. It gets deeper. Then we end up into, you know, all your different tapes. I have WD-40, I have PVC glue, as I said, extra hammer, extra pry bars, extra little extension cords. I keep all tape measures. I keep extra caulking gun. That's my favorite. I've had that for years and years and years. I like that caulking gun as opposed to those flimsy aluminum ones. That is full steel. I love it. I keep extra blades. Don't badger me because I'm not a pack rat, honestly. I just don't like throwing things away. So when I take a blade off, because it starts smoking on my wood, when I take the blade off, then I just toss it in the back of here, because the teeth, if you can see, are still relatively good. So just in case I need it, just in case, just one day I just happen to need an extra blade for my skill saw. Oh, there's a brand new one. And I keep a brand new one on hand also, just in case. Got a couple of concrete blades here. They could probably be used for metal, but specifically they are masonry blades, just in case I need them. I have a bunch of extra tile blades, 10-inch tile blades. When I get them to the point where the teeth is like, well, it's not really teeth to speak of, but when I get to the point of that and I'm doing a porcelain tile or something that I need a very clean cut, then I'll take this off and I'll put a brand new blade on. And various gloves and various other little hole cutters for carpentry, and, you know, a boot for a pipe if I happen to need it. A tile cutter if I ever need to do, you know, a quick cut on a tile. I have a paintbrush. I have pipe cutters, extra pipe cutters, because I have another toolbox that has specific. I have a stud finder, has specific plumbing stuff in it. Little wire brushes if I ever need them. This is for if I need to snap a line. That's extra. This is a box full of, what is in here? This is ratchet set. This is my chaos. Oh, I didn't even get to the middle part. So the middle part, I have, if I need to snap a line, I have my chop box. I have my extra tip for my gas, my map gas. I have extra screws. This is a hard start for an air conditioner. I'm not going to get into that because I don't do air conditioning a lot anymore. I have different screws in here. I have some deck screws, 3-inch deck screws. I have a plug tester. If I ever need it, I have extra wire nuts, another boot. I have a sharp bite for a 3/4 line cutoff, which I don't know why I have that, but I do. I have various magic markers, which you already probably saw in my tool pouch anyway. I got some extra Teflon tape. I have a whole set of Allen wrenches for the larger. I have that for air conditioning specifically, because I need larger ones for that to turn on the valves and stuff. I have headlights for when it gets dark. I have all kinds of stuff. Extra mask. I have extra blades for my razor knife. I have extra CPVC connectors because I run into that infrequently. Extra CPVC glue, which is probably rubberized by now. I have staples for my staple gun. I have my nails for my bang gun. Get into a lot of tools. Another tool that I used to use infrequently is this scraper, industrial type, takes off tile, surface tile, takes off all kinds of stuff, and it's got the little rebar. A couple months ago I had bought this. I made a video on it. I bought it at where did I buy it at? Harbor Freight. This was I have to go back on the video and look. I think this ended up costing me about $300. $300 for one of these. This is basically a jackhammer for all intents and purposes. They're electric, and these pieces are sold separate. I think one of them, I think I had to buy 2 of these. I bought that, and I bought this larger one, but I think this came with it. This thing is amazing. This thing does what that does on steroids. This is a 5x8 covered trailer, and this is a mess. I have a drop light. I have pancake compressor. As you see, there's my DeWalt extra stuff. There's the rest of the DeWalt saw. I have extra levels in here. I have an 8-foot level. I have a couple of brooms in here. I'm always making a mess. I have a shop vac, which is, that's one I use that quite a bit. There's my chop saw. I call it a chop saw. I don't do knee pads, so there's my little kitty float. I bought it at the dollar store years ago, and I use that for my knees because it's a lot easier than having knee pads. All these buckets have my trowels, I have one bucket dedicated to certain things. This is I think this is my grout bucket. There's my level bucket, and I got a square over there. I have all kinds of stuff. There's my nail gun right there. So when I do flooring, bam, 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 bam. One other thing is this mixer. This is why I said earlier about that paddle. The paddle mixer that goes on a drill, I don't use anymore. Years ago, I ended up getting one of these at a tile store for, I think it was $89. This mixer, oh my God, this is such a time saver. I have 2 of those. There's my Sawzall. Actually, that's a Sawzall case that has a bunch of different blades in it, a whole bunch of metal and wood cutting blades and all that stuff, anything I might need. There's my framing nailer. There is my radio I don't use anymore since Pandora and everything else. That's a Ryobi. I have extra framing nails. I have extra roofing nails for my roofing gun. I have a couple of 6-foot step ladders back there that you can't see. Under the step ladders is my table saw, which is way back there in the corner, and I hardly ever use it. I've had that table saw for probably 12, maybe 14 years, and I've used it twice maybe. I have another compressor that you can't see, but you see the hose wrapped around it. That's a large wheeled compressor, so that's about twice the size, 3 times the size of my pancake one. I have a bunch of drop cloths. I have a couple of mixing tubs. I have a shovel and a hoe down there that I mix my mortar with. I have a fan to facilitate drying of all my material. What else? Just a lot of stuff. You know, most people look in here and say it's all junk, but it's not. This is all the stuff that make my job happen. I need a bigger trailer, I think, what I need. If there was an easier way, if I could put up racks and put up stuff on the side of here to make things easier to see and get to, and then still have enough room down here to have some type of organization. The funny thing is, I'm a Virgo and I've been organized most of my life, but when I started getting into this pretty hot and heavy, I kind of backed off of the organization thing, because in the end, my next job, I'll be pulling stuff up and putting it in the back end and not necessarily in its place. This is my plumbing box, so if I took this out here, I learned a long time ago it's a lot easier to have all of your plumbing tools consolidated into one area. So that's it. I have all of my cutters, I have my solder, I have sharp bite pieces, I have strapping, extra mirror, extra brushes, extra everything in there. Little pieces of stuff that, you know, when you need it, you got to have it. And I don't want to stop and go to Home Depot, so I keep as much stuff in here as I can. There's my pipe wrenches, larger channel locks. I have all kinds of stuff, basin wrenches. I have, you know, extra connectors, extra everything. I might need it. There's some of the stuff that I don't use for years and years and years. These wrenches right here, I used to use quite a bit back in the day. Not this part. I used to use these back in the day. It comes in a set. And back in the day, you take out the whole valve in a shower or wherever, and these different sizes. And then you have a little cross member that goes in there to make it easy to turn and take out your valve. And we've gotten away from valves, so I don't even know why I still have this set. And it's taking up room in here, but I still have it. But anyway, yeah, I keep everything that I possibly can. And then inevitably, as Murphy's Law goes, you're like, oh crap, I don't have this one thing. And you gotta stop what you're doing and go to Home Depot to go get it, whether it be a part or a tool. But I try and be on point to have everything I need on any given job. And that's why I have so much stuff. I know it's ridiculous to some of you, but this all makes my job happen. And without my trailer, if somebody stole my trailer, I'd be out of work. You know, there's just too much invaluable stuff in here. So yeah, that's kind of a breakdown of my collection of tools. And I wish I could bring everything out and show it to you, but I just don't have the time or energy to get into this hot mess that I have. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions about any of my tools, or what is this or what is that, or anything at all, put them in the comment section down below and I will be sure to answer. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, then subscribe. Hit that button and subscribe. I make nothing off of YouTube, so please be a Patreon member. I'm going to post a link down below to my Patreon account, and you can donate $1, $5, $10, $20 a month. Just pledge that on a monthly basis. That will help me produce more videos and content so that you can watch and learn from my channel. And donate at least $50 if you're going to call. If you're going to call for advice, donate to my PayPal, please. Donate first, and then feel free to call me or email me for advice. Otherwise, business calls only, please.